Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and in our last video we made these little green components. And today we're going to turn them into earrings. We're going to use some 26 gauge wire and some beautiful crystals. And in doing so, we're going to wrap the crystals around the edge of the wire component with the 26 gauge wire. And then we'll put some earring wires on them, and if I feel the need, we'll even put a drop down at the bottom. But in doing this, we're also going to wrap our openings so that they are not quite so open. And yeah, let's turn down and we'll get started doing that. So of course, one of the first things we need to do is cut our crystals loose, and then also cut some wire. So these are little 3-point, I think these are, they might be 4mm, but they're 3 or 4mm crystals. And they're very pretty and shiny. I do love a pretty crystal. So let's put some of those out, and then we'll put the others aside. Then we'll cut us some wire. Now I don't know how much we're going to need, but we'll need at least a couple feet. So we'll cut a couple feet off. Now if we don't have enough, we can always add some because we're going to be wire wrapping, so it's not hard to add wire when you're wire wrapping. So the first place we want to go is right here. So we're going to wrap around this loose spot some. Now we're going to bring her right down to the opening there. And then I am going to wrap a couple wraps across the other side so it doesn't look like it's all wonky. So in order to do that, just go through like you would if you were wrapping any place. Knocking my crystals around with my, probably should get a dish to put those in so we don't do that. Knocking it with my wire here. Now you'll notice I went up to the upper level and then came through so that my wire is going here because I want it to be more or less the same from side to side. Now I've only got 2 wraps over here. I'm going to put a third one in above the top there. And if you need to, when you're doing one of these type things, you can always get your pliers out to help you. So I'm just going to pull that around like so. So now we have the 3 wraps there. And then I'm going to do another loop here with this one. You'll notice I'm sticking my finger in there. That is an attempt to keep it from doing a kink. Now that I've got 3, I will go around here again, and maybe I'll go 4 times here. And then I'm going to go down and start my wraps around the wire itself, the green wire itself. So we'll go here and we'll do 1 and then 2. Now on 2, I'm going to put the crystal in. The question is, do I want it on the outside or do I want it on the inside? Let's see what looks better. And I just kinked my wire accidentally. So back it up like this when you do that, so that you're re-establishing the way it went originally. And if it still does that, you can get a little kink. You can get your nylon jaw pliers out and just run it across the kink to try and straighten it better. I usually use my fingers, but I wouldn't advise it on a kink because they are sometimes a little bit sharp and you don't want to cut your hand. So down we go. And do we want it on the top here, or do we want it down below here? That is a good question, isn't it? Let's see. Up above or down below? I think I'm going to go for up above. So you put it in and then just wrap again. And then we want 2 wraps. And I've got another kink. Now that is one thing with working with little tiny wire. It does kink easily, so gotta watch that. So now we're at 2 wraps, so we want our next crystal. Drop down, come around, up, over. See how pretty that's going to look. Now I considered doing it up on the upper ring too, and I still could as I come back, but I'm going to hook the ear wire up here, so I'm not sure. We'll see. Through 1, 2, and the next crystal goes on. Now you'll find as you're doing this that you can feel this moving back and forth over here because this one hasn't been stabilized yet. So just keep going around till you get to that spot. And we're going to be doing exactly the same. So we're going to fast forward here so that you know, you're not having to watch me do the same thing over and over again. Okay, now that we have got our last bead on here, we want to sort of combine these. So we'll bring this up over here, bring it around the back, come over this wire here, again till the back. Come on, baby, don't pull out like that. If that should happen, I'm going to take my, squish this down some so that'll hopefully, it was slid into the groove. We don't want it to do that. So we need to bring it back out, go over the wire. Let's see, this is over this wire. Okay, so we want it to come up and go over this wire And then we'll come up again. And that went a little crooked, so we're going to get our pliers out and straighten that up. Then we'll go over to this side, and we're going to, actually I wanted to go over from the back. Go over here, come down here, over again, go over to here again, and go around the back. And that should hold it pretty steady. As you can see, it looks pretty good. And now I just have to trim my wires and straighten anything that needs straightening. And there is our first one done, other than cutting our wires and tucking those in. So let's get them good and tight. And we'll trim them off. And then tuck those wires in. Now be careful when you tuck that you don't accidentally break one of your crystals. Okay. Okay, there's the one with all the crystal wrapping on it. Now we just need to do the same to this other one. And we still have to decide, do we want to put some crystals up around the outer edge? We could do that by just getting another piece of wire out and doing so. But we got to remember that we're going to be putting our ear wire up here at the top, so we don't want to overdo it. So I think we won't. We're just going to now just fix the other one just like so. And I don't think we need a drop on this either. With those crystals, it's really, really going to be pretty. So we'll just put some a couple of jump rings up here at the top to hold our ear wire on. Now, adversely to that, if we wanted to, we could take and do another wrap up to the ear wire and put a crystal or two in that way, like so. We will decide in a bit. Right now we're going to just get some more wire out, and I'm going to do the second one, and we're going to do it exactly the same as this one. So let's get to that. So again, we're going to want about 2 feet of wire. So let's get that, should be plenty. Cut that. So the first thing, again, of course, we want to do is wrap right here. So we will. Now you can do this one of 2 ways. Just put this one down and hold it, and then hold this back wire, or you can wrap with this little piece. Now I'm going to do one wrap with the little piece. And if you need to grab your pliers, by all means do so. Actually, we'll do 2 wraps with the little piece. Now we've got 3 wraps across the front, and that's what we wanted. So we're going to tighten those up, and then we will slide it down here. Now it doesn't want to slide. I got it too close. Okay, there we go. Okay. Make sure we keep it up onto there. Now we're going to pull it across one and come back up. And when we come up, we're going to go over here to this bar, and then we're going to start feeding it through here. Now you can do what I just did, but you can do it either way. I find it simpler to feed it like that, but it also weakens your wire more. So you've got to think about that when you do that. Do you want to take the chance of weakening your wire, or would you rather just now remember, I brought that first wrap up higher so that I could make wraps down lower when I come back through. This time I'm going to feed it the regular way, this direction. Now when I do that, I put my finger in here so that it has less chance of kinking on the way through. There's the 3 wraps there. I'm pretty sure that's what we did, was 3 and 3. Yep, as you can see, it's 3 and 3. And I just threw a crystal on the floor. And then once we've got that done, we're going to come back in here and wrap 3 more times. There we have that attached there. Let's see. Now, you can make either side be the front that you prefer to have the front. It doesn't matter. Just whatever looks better once you've got them wrapped can be the front, and the other side can be the back. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start putting our crystals on. Like I say, this is exactly the way we did it before. Now see, that one seems to have snugged up a little better than this one has, but I think it'll be all right. So in order to put the crystals on, we do just like we did before, with just doing the 2 wraps, and then oh, I see what you did. You slid down underneath there. We don't want you to do that. Come back up here. Okay. Now, if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm pushing this side down a little bit more. It seems to have pulled up some, and I don't want it up some, so we're going to push it down. Okay. Now we're going to take this wire. We're going to do our 2 loops for our first crystal and throw the crystals on the floor again. There we go. Our first one is in place now. And I think we may be a little higher than before, which is fine. You can just take your finger and push it down like so. And then we'll put our first crystal on. And then we're going to just do exactly like we did on the other one. Put the crystal down and wrap 2 wraps before we put the next one on. Now you can spread these out or loosen them up as you see fit as you go along. Make them really tight or really loose with each other. Put a big gap between. Put more than 2 wraps if you want to. I think of my wraps as a setting wrap for the crystal for the first one, and then as I come around to the second, it's the sitting wrap for that one. So we'll just go around like this. So we just set it on top, push it through, number 1, number 2, and then the crystal goes on now. Oop, come on, baby. Down it goes. Does number 1 to set this one, number 2 for this one to sit on. And we'll keep doing this till we get to the other side where we need to set them in place and the wire in place as well. So just hold the crystal, push it around, set in place. Bring the next one around and put the crystal on. Now the first thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to compare and see how many crystals I have, if it's running about the same, or do I need to loosen them or tighten them. Looks like I've got them about the same, doesn't it? This one needs it to come up here just a hair's breadth. That's good. We're doing good. So now we'll just keep doing that all the rest of the way around. Hold it, set it, put the next wire around. That's a little loose, so we'll tighten those up. Put the next crystal on. Now I do believe this is the last crystal. Let's compare and make sure they're about the same here. Yep, last crystal going on right now. And then we'll of course do our connection right there. So 1, 2, like normal. And then we're going to come up. As you can see how we put 2 more here on either side. So we'll come up, give it a little space, put 1 and 2. Then we're going to come around to the back. Come around once and then go over here. 1 and 2. Come around the back again. Now this time we need to push this in just a bit more because as you can see, that's where our break is at. We want to come. Now I didn't bring any more back. See, we're done right here. This is our last spot. Should be right here. Whoop. Good going. Crystals all over the floor. Here's our tails. Now if we wanted to, we could go in the middle here and put a crystal right here in the middle, and that might be pretty. Need to get this tightened up here. It wants to slide still. So let's see what it would look like with a crystal right here in the middle of here. I sort of like that. In order to do that with this one, we're going to have to add some more wire. This one has extra wire already. So I am just going to put another wrap through here. To tighten that up there. Tighten all these connections here because they look like they're sort of loose. And I'll go around, and I think we'll go up through here again to tighten this spot. Okay, that's quite a bit of wire there. I'm not sure I like that much wire there, but at the same time, we do need some to get this to all hook together good. And we can always squish it some, which I'm doing right now to make it a little more cohesive. And then we'll cut those wires, and we'll put a little bit more on so we can put this crystal in the middle of this one. This is the bottom wrap, the original, right here. Which we will cut off right there. Bring these closer. Cut this one right here. And tuck it in. And there's this one done, except for the hanger wire. We'll take this little bit, it should be enough, I would think, to put this crystal into this other side here, since it's just going to go right there. So we will wrap this direction. The crystal in. Bring this over here. Over here. Wrap once. Come on, baby. There we go. We'll need to push the wire down into place down here. This wire wants to be a bit difficult. We'll go around here. Okay, now we get these wires where we want them to be at and trim them off. And tuck it in. There we go. There's our earrings. Now we just have to put them on some ear wires. In order to put these on the ear wires, it's simple. Just get a couple of small jump rings. These are oval jump rings. I prefer them because the break is to the side, and then when with the when they are put together, then it stays to the side and you don't have to worry so much about anything coming through the gap, which you do have to worry about with a round one. Now this didn't quite come all the way together, so I'm going to work it a little bit till it does. There it did. There's the first one on. Now you have to use two, otherwise it would hang the wrong direction. And I suppose we could have twisted this upper piece so it was falling the other direction, but I didn't do so. There's the first one. And we do the same to the second. And there we go. Second one all finished. And there they are. Now we could have left the upper crystal out, and that would have put less wire wrap across the top. But I sort of like it there. So there we go. Bright, pretty green and gold and crystal ear wires. Now I'm going to tighten these wires up a little bit here. I notice they're still trying to pull apart some, which I don't want them to do. So we're going to tighten those up some. Then I'm going to squish these ones down some because they're a little bit closer. And I think that for consistency's sake, we want to try and get them to sit about the same. Now, considering that these are entirely handmade, I think they turned out pretty good. There we go, all done. Aren't those pretty? So let's turn up and we'll show them to you a little better. Okie doke, there is our earrings. Didn't those turn out pretty? Those will make a nice pair of elegant earrings, either for Christmas or anytime you're wearing a green outfit. I really like them. I think they turned out really pretty. And not too bad for entirely handmade. Right from the components up. To see how to make the component, check out part 1 of this video. So there we go. There's our pretty earrings. I hope you enjoyed making these with me. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, making some pretty crystal component and green component earrings. Bye-bye.